Good night, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is another edition of Hong Kong. Sorry, Darkness in Dublin. I was the ST for Hong Kong for so long it gets sprained in my head. Darkness in Dublin Vampire Edition. Tonight, a member of the Assamite clan has sent out a call for like-minded allies in the area to work on a little problem known as Lord Ashgar. Or at least no longer a lord according to his own clan, but you never know. This will be being held at a back room at the restaurant of Alexander Delano, who is the master of harpies for the Camarilla. So, Robert, I'm assuming that Talbot's going to be there first since he arranged for all this. So why don't you intro yourself and then we can intro Nelson and then I'll intro last, okay?
Very well. Talbot is, as always, dressed in traditional Sikh gear and a rather large overcoat. For anyone that isn't familiar with traditional Sikh gear, he's going to have a full beard and mustache. He's got a blue turban and very loose-fitting, comfortable clothing. He would sit, pardon me. He would sit in the room provided by the Master of Harpies quietly, probably with obfuscate on, waiting for other people to come in.
Are you hiding yourself with obfuscate in the room?
Yes, he says it's his habit to use obfuscate until.
Okay. Nelson, you're up.
So, Ambroise is, will be on time at the meeting, perhaps a few minutes early. He is wearing, what he normally likes to, the style he normally likes to wear when he goes out, and it's not for, when it's not for a, let's say, more physical reason, which is, a suit. Dark, as always. Dark, the pants are black, the vest is black, the shirt is black. Because not buying to stereotypes, it can be funny sometimes. And he'll walk in and go straight to the room where he's been directed.
As soon as you would walk in, I would drop my obfuscate and greet you for the evening. Hello, Ambrose.
OC, what's your character's name again?
Talbot.
Talbot. Talbot, I believe. Yes?
That is correct.
Will there be more of us meeting tonight?
There should be at least one more, but he's a Nosferatu, so for all I know, he's already here.
He'll smirk.
Who here has Auspex?
Nope.
Okay.
Not yet.
That's a future plan, but not right now.
So, when you say, for all I know, he's here now, you hear a voice from behind you that says, I was wondering how long it would take for you to reveal yourself. You know, you really shouldn't walk around and obfuscate.
Why not?
When you look behind you, Dr. Brightman's standing there with his mask up, arms folded over himself, leaning against the wall. I'm guessing that you walked in and then obfuscated yourself.
I hadn't actually thought about it. They probably would have, because it would be weird for, I don't know if there's a doorman or anything, so I would just assume that I came in normally and then put it on.
Right.
I guess once I was in the room.
Okay. Brightman will then say, the funny thing is that you thought you were alone.
I guess you never know. But I believe that's everyone that's going to make it this evening. Everyone care to take a seat?
Michael will take a seat and he will place his briefcase down on the table. Well, not briefcase, he carries a valise with him. He'll set that down on the table.
So there are two things that caused me to want to call this meeting this evening. Either could apply to both of you or either could apply to none of you, but I'll lay out my thinking and then you can both let me know. You can let me know your thinking. I am new in town, and I happen to know that Ambrose here is new in town. Obviously, Doctor, you're far more established, but so this may or may not apply to you, but it's up to you if you want to be interested. I was thinking Ambrose and I should consider forming a sort of group or coterie, I think you people call it, and it would be for mutual protection and betterment, and that's the first order of business, what I wanted to put forth.
Unfortunately, I'm already a member of a coterie, but I thank you for your interest.
I thought you might be since you were already here, but I didn't want to exclude you.
Of course. I might recommend Dimitri. He's been following me around a lot lately, and I'm trying to get him to meet new people.
Interesting. Can you tell me a little bit more about him?
He hits like a Mack truck, and he can hide himself. He is fairly technologically adept. Not as adept as Enigma, but Enigma doesn't come out of the sewers that much anymore anyway. And he needs to learn better when to hold his tongue.
I'm not sure I'd be good at teaching him that part, but if he wants to...
Can you teach him silence? And can you teach him not to say stupid things in front of a harpy?
I could teach him to be quiet. I don't know about not to say stupid things in front of a harpy. I'm still learning. I'm not familiar with them that much.
I might have to teach a master class.
A master class on being quiet.
A master class on not being dumb in front of a harpy. There's been a few in the city that have had that issue as well. And some that have said stupid things to the Seneschal. And you've both seen the Seneschal.
I would attend a briefing that you made, or a lecture.
I'll work on one.
Please express to Dimitri my interest in meeting him. And now, so as not to make Ambrose feel as though we have forgotten all about him, what do you think of my offer, Ambrose?
Well, I came here to know more about it.
Well, you are... Am I right in assuming you are initially a former member of the Sabbat?
Unfortunately, yes, but I have, let's say, wisen up.
Can I ask you a question real quick, Ambrose?
Of course.
How much of your initiation do you remember?
Most. I see. We didn't really talk about how it happened, but yeah. I mean, he has Sabbat Law 3, so he'll be like, I know quite a lot about my... I remember quite a lot about my initiation and about my former... set.
I see.
Sect,
I just wanted to be sure. It isn't common for those that have sworn fealty to that particular cause to swap sides. I was just curious.
I noticed a distinct lack of trust for him when he showed up, too.
The thing is that there are members of the La Sombra that are, from what I understand, I'm using my camera on this, are inducted into a bloodline within the Camarilla itself that become a part of a list. You're going to want to prove yourself so you can be on that list so you don't get executed for being what you are. Oh, and by the way, anybody who possesses vicissitude, there's no list for that. You're automatically dead.
Well, lucky I do not possess this particular power.
It was a justicarial edict made back in 2002, 2004, I think.
I see. Was it? Guessing that means it was made back when the Sabbat was in control.
No, this wasn't made by the city. At Conclave, a bunch of Justicars got together and said vicissitude is a disease. If you carry it, if you have it, you are If you have it, you're irredeemable. Anybody possessing the vicissitude discipline is to be executed on sight.
Okay. And he'll nod.
It was also around the same time that the Tremere came out and said we're allowed to have this. We're allowed to have We're allowed to be infernalists because we study demons.
What an interesting viewpoint they have.
Well,
Anyway, we should continue where we left off.
Yes, my initial interest in asking if you had been from the spot was because they have, I assume, some type of group together. I know the Camarilla calls it a coterie, but I don't know what the Sabbat calls it. So it would be similar to forming one of those, but without all the bathing in human blood and burning down cities and other stuff that you guys used to do.
and he'll smirk. We called it a pack.
No reason to give your answer tonight, of course. It's just I wanted to make the offer and take you time to consider it and let me know what you decide. And that was the first bit of business I wanted to put forth. The second bit is dealing with the albino robed menace. I believe you people call him Ishar.
We don't call him that. He calls himself that. That, from what I understand, was his name before he decided to become a demon worshipping crafter of monstrosities.
That is interesting. Good enough. We can go with that or robed albino menace, whatever. Do we happen to know any specifics about him as far as, like, when he would be likely? Like, can we predict when he's going to show up? Does he often show up at introductions like he did when we just saw him recently, or is it random? What do we know about him at all?
From what I've been able to gather so far, where he shows up, he is intentional. After all, he showed up at the Elysium, made that grand thing, and then promptly opened up a pit to hell. Well, no, not hell, the nothingness. Why am I remembering this? No.
All right, now don't go catatonic on me again. Don't think about that. That was a bad night. We're gonna fix that. We're gonna take care of that. There's a strike team already getting together to fix that. But I have it developed this plan, you see, because he lit the Malkavian on fire. I believe his name is Relius. And it occurred to me that if you light someone on fire, they should probably light you on fire back. Are you familiar with gun cotton?
I do not believe I am.
It's
That's mostly the doctor.
From what I understand, it's a chemically infused cord of some kind, specifically designed to be ignited by fire and to continually burn without consuming it at the alarming pace of regular cotton.
Yes, that's that's perfect. So what I'm going to do is have someone construct a sort of a sturdy cloth net. Then I would like, ideally, to have you, Doctor, treat it with the gun cotton process, which I'm told is simple, but I've never done it myself. Then I would like, next time we can get this guy somewhere, maybe he shows up, we happen to be together, maybe we have to plan it out for an ambush. I plan to throw this net on him and have the Malkavian shoot him with a flare gun.
Poetic.
I figure this will either work great or work terribly.
It all depends on how quick he can get out of said net.
There's a flaw with your design, though.
What is that?
From what I've observed so far, he's a teleporter.
Someone mentioned that to me, but I figure worst case scenario, if the gun cotton lights up his clothes too and he teleports out of his clothes, we can rummage through his belongings. Not ideal, but he also, I'm unfamiliar with teleportation, so for all I know, it'll take the net with him, flame and all.
Have you run this by the Alistair?
Who is that?
I better talk to her.
Oh, is that the lady that showed up?
Yes, she's
Yeah, I
been.
figured she'd be busy holding in the nothingness. But I did think it would be a good idea if we do wind up setting a booby trap. It's possible there might be a circle or some kind of incantation we could put together that would stop him from teleporting out. Or, like I said, the teleport might take the flaming net with him. I really am not familiar with teleportation.
Nor am I. It's not something that they teach in, college.
That's too bad. They should have a class on that.
I'm sure the theoretical physics department is working on it. The one problem I see, besides the fact that you can teleport, is I'm going to have to research this because my specialization is biochemistry, genetics, and biology. I'm not much of a organic chemistry kind of person, or even a ballistics chemistry sort of person.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, it was discovered twice by accident by totally different people. So I'm pretty sure it's simple. I just don't know. Out of character, I know, but
Well, I'll have to get some research going. But if you get me I should be able to find the chemicals. There's always a way to find those things. All I'll need from you at that point will be the cloth.
excellent. And I'm going to meet with someone else about crafting of a sturdy net. And I'm sure Relius will be eager to launch a flare at the robed menace, whether it's going to kill him or just burn him a bit.
Well, I'm sure. Besides, it would stand to be fascinating. How does somebody who uses fire feel about being on fire? My sire would have loved doing that kind of case study.
Well, if he survives, you can always interview him after.
I'm afraid that's not an area of expertise I have, and my sire's been dead for a long time.
I'm sorry for your loss.
He's going to cast a look over to Ambrose very noticeably, and he's going to look back to Talbot and nod his head.
I see it was the Sabbat that did it.
Yeah, when they invaded New York the first time.
Ah, New York.
This is where I was born, where I was raised, and where I spent most of my life until I left.
Well. Not. Yeah. But as far as I would say is the death of a Tsar is not always a loss. Is not always a loss. But that only speaks for myself.
Well, my sire was interesting. He was a behavioral scientist. He enjoyed studying people.
It would have been useful to predict the robed menace's next action. Something else. You said something about that woman. What was her name again, please? She had come to Alistair?
She's the Red Alistair.
The Red
Alistair is a position within the Camarilla. They hunt down red listers like Ishar. And a red lister is not something you ever want to be.
No, I can avoid that pretty easily, I think. And you said you wanted to run our plan past, well, my plan past her?
I would recommend running it past her just to make sure that if there's any information she has in regards to his tactics, his thought processes. She's been hunting him for a long time. I think that might come in handy.
Yes, I'm part of the strike team that's going to be dealing with the void he opened. So I should see her at that point, and I can run it by her, provided we all survive, or at least I survive. I don't know if anyone else survives. Hopefully, it'll go well. Ambrose, are you part of the strike team as well?
I have volunteered myself to go, yes.
I know there's limited numbers. It probably has something to do with the ritual the Tremere are enacting. I like the idea that more than one person who was there when he initially came and opened the void will be involved in trying to close the void as well.
Indeed. And I know quite a bit about rituals.
Oh, that could be good. Are you going as well, Dr. Brighton?
I haven't been asked. I am not exactly an expert on anything having to do with mystical or combat, and unlike other members of my clan, he's going to punch the wall and then shake his hand like he hurt himself. I'm not strong.
I would
Well-
show you my strength, but I'm not sure if we are allowed to, or I might have to pay something.
I wouldn't recommend doing that here. I only did it because I know I can't do anything to that wall.
Yeah, I wouldn't go tipping over tables and breaking down walls of people when you're trying to convince everyone you're not there to take over for the Sabbat. Now, this Dimitri, have I met him at all? Do you know? Was he at the initial appearance when Ambrose and I introduced ourselves to the prince?
No, he wasn't. For a very simple reason, he's not allowed to talk in the presence of the prince.
No. Well, that's interesting.
I guess that has something to do with the fact that he can't keep his mouth shut.
You would be correct. It goes back to the doesn't know when not to talk in front of a heartbeat. Oh, bit of advice. If you ever suspect the prince is sending you into a trap, don't say anything. Don't mouth anything. As a matter of fact, don't even try to use telepathy to convey it, because odds are good the harpy will find out.
Interesting. I prefer to set the trap than go in the trap, but that doesn't mean. I mean, I would say I've probably been on both sides of it.
So if he does set us on a trap, what are we to do?
Find the way out.
I'm under the impression any trap can be broken free from.
Well, there's an old saying. Everybody thinks that time is a straight line of progression from forward to backward and so forth, but it's really more, from a non-linear, non-subjective standpoint, it's more of a big ball of wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
I'm not sure how that relates, but I'll try to keep that in mind.
Sorry, Enigma's been introducing me to Doctor Who.
Yeah. Well, I am very interested in the potential of you giving a lecture, as you mentioned. I understand you have multiple PhDs.
I have 3 PhDs, an MD, a master's degree, and working on my second master's.
That's fascinating. I would be interested in hearing any lectures you give, I think.
You say that now, you'd be surprised. But more of what I was thinking was something in the means of etiquette.
I might listen to them on that too. I can usually keep my mouth shut at the right time, but that's about the extent of it. Dimitri, is he Russian?
Yes, at least I believe so.
Does he speak Russian?
I've never heard him try it.
I know the name is a Russian name, but I spent some time there and I picked up the language.
You would have loved meeting my sire then. My sire was from Russia. At least he was. He managed to get out before the wall came down.
Settled in from Russia all the way to New York, huh?
He had a few stops along the way. From what my grandsire said, it was like he was being chased out of Russia.
Well, that happens. That's the standard way to leave Russia, from what I hear. Not to make light or anything.
Well, no, from what I understand, he left after the Romanovs collapsed. So, the October Revolution.
Interesting. Is Dimitri permitted in this area? The area where we are, it has to do with the Master of Harpies, and you said he mouthed off in front of a harpy.
He mouthed off in front of the Master of Harpies about the prince, but there have been a few incidents lately that have kind of taken the Master of Harpies' attention away. And the punishment was only in regards to what happened, in regards to the prince himself, not anything having to do with the Master of Harpies.
Okay.
To be fair, it was the most lenient punishment I was able to get from the prince.
Because I would be interested in meeting with Dimitri, as you say. I just didn't know if I should do it here or find another alternate location, which I could do if necessary.
Just as long as you mind your P's and Q's.
I'll try. Ambrose, you've been particularly quiet.
I've been listening, which brings me to the subject, and he'll look at Michael. You say, Doctor, that you do not know how well, that you are not a good fighter.
That's correct, mostly because I've chosen never to fight. As a matter of fact, in the mission to retake the city, I provided reconnaissance, scouting, spies, hiding people, that sort of thing.
That's all still very important.
Mm-hmm. Which is how I gained status, and one of the reasons why I'm now Primogen.
So I guess you do not wish to learn then.
No, unfortunately, I have no wish. You see, when I was alive, I was a zookeeper. I was a brilliant zookeeper. I got my degree in biology. I got a double major degree in both biology and zoology so that I could become a primate specialist. And I saw someone die. And I have no wish to ever see that again, even though it continues to happen in my presence when I don't want it to.
That must be frustrating.
I know why I was embraced. And I know what my future is, at least as far as my academic studies go. Everything else can just fall by the wayside. But the Camarilla is the one thing that my family, my bloodline, I should say, has believed in ever since the Convention of Thorns.
Convention of Thorns.
The formalization of the Camarilla and the end of the Anarch Revolution.
Yeah, as an Assamite, I am familiar.
I know. Sorry, all this stuff was drilled into me when I was still under prestation.
Yeah, your education is very important to you. That is good. Ambrose, you spoke of training. Do you have, shall I say, combative skills yourself?
I know how to use most weapons and my fists.
And Shadow, from what I hear.
Oh yes, I am, you might say, a master at my clan's craft.
I have very little exposure to the Sombra, to be honest, but I've heard of the things that you can do.
And he'll smile. Yes, one of my powers, one of the ones that get us so infamous, is one that causes rot-wreck, as if our kind had seen a blazing fire.
Well, we're going to see a blazing fire when we deal with this albino rogue menace now.
I would recommend enhancing your fortitude, your mental fortitude as much as possible before going into that situation. It would be very unseemly to start a trap and then run away from it.
He'll smile.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll bring fire extinguishers to the trap. You know.
He just smirks. He has a courage of 5. He's like, I can take this.
Sometimes too much courage is a bad thing too. Speaking of, so we have a tentative plan of how to deal with this guy. Do we have any kind of plan of how to manipulate him getting into the trap?
There might be something we can use. Like I said, it'd be something you'd want to talk to the Alistair about. But he seems very proud of his pets.
The
And
winged monstrosities?
he will actually shudder when he says pets.
Are you talking about the gargoyles, or does he have other pets?
The gargoyles.
Those must be fascinating to a zoologist, I would think.
They are
Well, those used to be kindred, from what I have heard.
Those used to be us. From what I've been told, and from what my research has proposed, he uses kindred of the Nosferatu, Gangrel, and Zemise clans.
Well, that's disturbing.
Why do you think I said what I did when he was offering us a choice to join him?
You knew what he could make of you.
Yes, I did. And the reason why I know all this is because his childer is in our city.
Is his childer on his side or our side?
His childer is technically on our side, Dr. Mikhail Ivanov.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with him.
He's a member of Clan Tremere. He's been in the city for a while, and he is... let's just say that he has bigger daddy issues than you do, Ambrose. No offense.
He also sounds Russian.
He is.
Interesting.
So you said bigger daddy issues than my character?
Yep.
Well, that remains to be seen. But
according to Mikhail, his sire used to make him make things like the gargoyles.
I could speak of you what my sire did, but perhaps not tonight.
No.
I quite enjoyed my sire's time. I mean, I guess I got the lucky end of the stick.
Is your sire the Obsidian Lantern?
No. But if he was, I would lie about it.
That's true.
But no.
It's a very fascinating individual.
No, my sire, in fact, oh God, I forgot. I out of character forgot the name I gave my sire. I think it was Balaram, the Slayer of Secrets. But I don't know if anyone outside of the clan would have heard of him.
Probably not, unless they have Assamite lore.
Speaking of, I would be interested in learning more about the Sabbat, Ambrose.
Well, as I said, the groups we form are called packs. Perhaps because of what tends to be closeness, certain closeness we have, although it's not natural. It's brought by blood. You mentioned earlier that we bathe in human blood. That is not how a pack is formed. I assume you know of the blood bond.
Traditional blood bonds? Yes.
Well, you see, what we do is we take a cup, and each member of the pack, of what will become the pack, put some of their blood in the cup, and then each member drink out of it.
Interesting.
It brings us closer together. It just brings a certain bond together. I do not know why, but bonds to certain people, to certain members, are stronger than others.
Well, if I had to make a theory, it would be that the random blood drawn out from each drink varies depending upon whose blood it is, the potency of the mixture of the blood, parts per million, that sort of thing. So theoretically, you could be drawing out more of one person's blood than another person's blood, even if it is meant to be a sharing experience.
Possibly.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, science, bitches.
That science bitch, and he'll say that, and well, my clan tend to be the leaders. Well, my grandsire was the archbishop of this city not too long ago.
Well, that explains a lot about why people don't trust you.
Yes, not only am I damned with being, well, you a former member of the Sabbat, but my sire and her sire have quite bad history, especially with the Camarilla.
Interesting. I thank you for this information about the Sabbat. I always like learning. I look forward to your consideration of my offer to form a coterie. I look forward to meeting with Dimitri, and I look forward to getting you the net to work upon. I believe that can bring this meeting to a close if everyone else has pressing matters that they must deal with as well.
And he'll nod.
My mass spectrometer should be finished by now, so I will go ahead and take my leave.
Gratitude to you both for your time.
Thank you for the offer. And with that, he'll bow and leave.
Michael will simply nod his head to both of you and will leave, and you feel something else is there when Michael's leaving, but you don't know what it is.
I will also leave.
With
Okay.
that,
That
I
will
guess-
put to a close. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you if we have any watchers for watching. This has been another edition of Darkness in Dublin. I got it